Compliance Weekly. Welcome to Compliance Weekly 2024, May 14th. Let's check out our milestone board. I will share screen. So, I think the last one discussed was down here. Was it this one? Great CRUD APIs. Yes, that was this one. So next one is AWS logging destination handler for consolidated audit events. I think this one was on Hitesh and verified by Ilya.
So now we have for the new consolidated audit event streaming destination, we have added validations and support for AWS destinations. Streaming is
Nice.
pending though. There's only validation.
Next few are on me. This was a security fix I was mentioning previous weeklies, which has now been released, so we can talk about it. Yeah, there was a cross-site script forgery opportunity or exploit opportunity in the SAML SSO, and that has now been patched to not allow that anymore. Next one is remove compliance framework management from settings. Ilya did that one. I think this was the move from moving it from the group settings to our compliance center.
Yeah, and one thing on that, we have found a little bug that we'll be hopefully rolling out a fix for in the next sort of 24 hours.
It is indeed a breaking change.
Yes. So the breaking change made it into 17, but we found a little bug off the back of it. So yeah.
Yes. Next one is on me, validation for framework name. We previously didn't validate our framework names on length. I added a small front-end validation to make sure it's short enough. Next one is on Ilya, edit button on the policies. Oh, two policies, not on policies.
Yeah, I can talk about this one. So in the when you're editing or viewing a framework, there is a table down there which links the policies, and there wasn't to edit them you had to click on the row, then it opened a drawer, and then you could go through to the click on the edit button. There's now a direct edit button from in there, so you don't have to wait around for that, which is cool.
Nice. Next one was on me. This was a follow-up. It adds the removed role in the audit event description in the compliance center. And then we have deprecate default branch protection on Harsima.
Yeah, and so this one was the issue in which we had deprecated the default branch protection, and now we are using new column called default branch protection defaults.
Nice. Next one's on Nate, custom check technical exploration. You're muted.
This was looking into different ways that we could do custom checks for the adherence report for when we expand it to having the custom requirements and all that leveling. So we've looked at two different ways, both internal and external custom checks. So from that, we'll now start doing some scheduling for technical implementation planning and getting that scheduled in.
Nice. And then we have the default branch protection dropdown. This was on Ilya.
This is front end for the work I did. We just discussed, yeah.
Nice. Then we're through with that. Anything to discuss for review or blockers? All right. Next, we'll do updates on our planning issue. Is this the right one? I think so.
Yep, that's the one.
Still the right one, right? Yeah, we're not on
Yeah.
one yet. Okay. Yes. So start with custom standards adherence configuration on Nate and Zaifa.
Yeah, so we've completed the planning for this and have gone with the JSON-based approach at this stage. The next step is coming up with the implementation plan and beginning dev. So we're on track for that at the moment.
All right. Next one on Hitesh, multiple compliance frameworks labels.
So the POC is complete and now I've added the implementation and rollout plan for this. I tagged the team just before this meeting. So please go through it and let me know if you have any feedback on that. Then we can start on the implementation.
Yes. Next one is third-party connector to Snowflake. That still says Huzaifa, but Nate and I agreed that this will switch to me. Since I'm also DRI for the OKR that adds the APIs, but that's just like half an hour ago that switch was made. So no big update there for me.
And just an update. So we have, from a technical point of view, the connector app is all ready to go. We've just run into a little bit of an issue in the publishing the listing, which has held it up from. We haven't included it in the 17.0 release, so we'll push it to 17.1, but hopefully we can release that this week still, but it just probably won't meet that release, the release post.
Yeah. Compliance pipeline to security policy migration. That one is on me. There's no update there since I was on PTO almost since last meeting and working on the migration for the rename of require password to approve. The next one is cells 1.0 on Harsimar.
Yeah, so right now I have created a MR for splitting up the audit events table. It's in review right now. And once that is reviewed, we can proceed with further development.
Nice. Next one on Hitesh, consolidation of tables for streaming audit events.
So right now I'm working on the MR for GCP handler, and that will start with the migration and streaming of destination. So streaming of audit event to this destination, along with handling that how we are going to do it, feature flags on this.
Alrighty, next one on Harsimar, improved admin and group level branch protection.
Yes, I believe this is done and now released. There was one just a little bug notified yesterday, which can go in next release if it is not picked uh, today by RC tag.
All right. And next one is comprehensive instance level audit log on Nate.
Yeah, just more issues that have been in progress from different people. Working to get the audit event days program sorted as well for that.
Next one is on me, SAML SSO authentication for merge request approval. There's still follow-ups to be done here. Security part has been released, as just mentioned a while ago, and the rename is still underway. I'm hoping to get the MR for that for review in today. Next one is frameworks report MVC on Ilya. Do you have an update on that, Nate, or in the next one too?
Yeah, I can talk about these two quickly. The framework report MVC, the final issue for us is in final review, so that will be closed out. And it didn't quite make 17.0, but it's not something for release post, so we'll close that all out. And the making the compliance center available to projects and subgroups, that has started work behind a feature flag, so there is some availability there, but we'll be more focused on that in 17.1.
All right. Nice. All right, that's it for our planning issue. Then we'll have no design updates as far as I'm aware. Right, then we go to FYI and questions. First one is on me. I talked with Nate, and there's a process suggestion around our planning updates. Last week I demoed sort of what I am going at with this. I didn't know Nate has to transcribe our updates from the video each week to report them higher up. So my suggestion was for us to have a place to have these updates in written form before we verbalize them here on the meeting. One that would make it easier to keep track of them without having to go through multiple videos if anyone wants to see like a progress. And two, would save Nate from having to transcribe them every time. So my suggestion is to, have an update. I'm gonna open an MR where we can gather feedback on how to best do it. But like the gist of it would be list your items and the short update on them. And yeah,
So if you scroll down, you'll see how one of the updates looks like. Oh, up, sorry, in your yeah, so I take what was like discussed in this meeting and others and put that into the progress column. I'm not saying that that needs to look like this. What we were sort of thinking was if at the start of the week I create like a comment for the week and then you comment underneath that with a status update of how things are going for the projects you're assigned.
yes. All right. Yeah. So look forward to the MR if you want to discuss on that. Next one is on Nate.
Yeah, just a few celebrations from me. Like mentioned by Hasma there, the improved admin and group level branch protection was released. This was something that had been going on for almost a year, this project. So fantastic work from Hasma and Ilya. And I know there was a few bumps right in the end as well, but we'll get there. We got there in the end. The other one was we released all three of the breaking changes that we had scheduled for 17.0. So thank you to Zafa, Jay, and Ilya for getting those across the line as well. I know there were some tight timeframes in the windows for them. And thank you, Sam, as well, for getting that security stuff across the line and keeping GitLab secure. Fantastic work from the whole team across 17.0.
Yes. Next one is Hitesh, implementation and rollout plan.
Yeah, I can walk you through it. Do you want to do it right now or after discussing OKRs? Okay.
We can do it right now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick talk through, just so that we get the gist of it.
Yeah. Okay. So currently, the problem that we are trying to solve is right now we only support one compliance framework per project. There cannot be more than one compliance framework which can be assigned to a project. Now there is a requirement that we need to support multiple compliance frameworks for a project. The current code that we have is written in such a way that it has the project has one association with a framework, and we need to change it to has many. So there's another table that we use for project compliance framework settings, which contains the relationship between, which stores the relationship between frameworks and projects. So it depicts which uh, framework is assigned to which project, and not more than one framework can be assigned to a project as discussed before. So now there's this service, assigned project service, which is used for assigning and unassigning a framework from a project. If it checks whether there's a framework already assigned to the project. If there's one, then it will replace the existing one. Otherwise, it will assign the new framework. And in case of unassigned, it will remove any existing frameworks from the project. And for fetching the labels, there's a grep entity for project, and at other places in HTML files, directly the model is being used for fetching the associations. The implementation plan that we are proposing is that we need to add a unique constraint in the project compliance framework settings for columns project ID and framework ID, so that there should not be any repetition of same framework for the same project multiple times. And other than that, we need to remove the has one association, replace the has one association with has many for the compliance framework setting, as well as the compliance management framework, which is a through association via the settings. So, and change the references to them. So right now, everywhere the framework for a project is being treated as a singular entity. Now we need to change the references in such a way that it should be treated as a plural. And we need to change the assigned project service file in such a way that right now it is replacing the existing framework with a new framework in case it exists. So we need to add more frameworks rather than replacing them. And in case of removal, we need to get a specific framework ID, that which framework do you want to remove from the project. Right now it is removing any framework that is assigned to the project, assuming that there could only be one framework assigned to a project. Other than that, for compliance pipeline configuration path for a project, so whenever a project's pipeline is run, then the compliance framework pipeline which is associated to it will also run. Now we are adding multiple frameworks to a project, so there could be multiple compliance pipelines and they can collide with each other. So right now we are taking a decision that we'll only fetch the pipeline path of the last framework that was added to the project, first or the last uh, added framework to the project. There's a product decision, and I'll ask Nate for that.
Ian confirmed the first one.
Okay, then I'll change it to the first one.
Yeah.
And right now there exists a single mutation for setting and unsetting the framework from a project. We need to add 2 new mutations for adding and deleting frameworks from a project and deprecate the existing one, so that we don't have to deal with uh, making too much changes to the users end, and we can deprecate it in the one go. Regarding the rollout plan, first of all, we can go ahead with the migration for adding the unique constraint to project ID and framework in the project compliance framework settings table, and change the uh, and simultaneously we can change the one-to-one relationship of projects model with compliance framework setting and frameworks uh, to has many, and change references to that relationship by, so assuming that there can only be one framework associated with a project right now, So change this, change the references into this in such a way that now we are treating it as a array and just fetch the first item from that array. Once these two steps are done, then we can move ahead to step 3, where we can make changes in the assigned project service and uh, at the places where it is being called. So and also make changes to the project changes auditor too. Then we can make changes to the other files where uh, references to the attribute to the association of frameworks for the project are being called. This we can do with the help of a feature flag so that no existing feature should break. Similarly, we can change references to the association in UI HTML files. This can, so the references to compliance framework labels for projects can be removed from the UI HTML files. So we might not need to change these, because if this gets changed before we make the further changes as per the designs. Lastly, we can make changes to the APIs, the uh, mutation controller and the worker from where the assigned project service is being called. Because now onwards, assigned project service will assume that we'll be also sending the framework ID of the framework which needs to be removed. So yeah, there's the implementation and rollout plan. Do you have any suggestions?
I think there is also filtering thing present for projects in which we use compliance framework right now. So there are, in projects API, we do support filtering a project using compliance framework. So that would also need to be taken care of. Uh, or we can deprecate old column, which probably is ID of the framework, and introduce new framework IDs. So
Sorry?
in projects API, there is a feature in which we allow filtering of projects using compliance framework. So right now it supports only one ID because we have a has one relationship, right? But moving forward, if we have has many relationship, that API will also start supporting IDs instead of ID. So yeah, so you can create a issue where we want to deprecate IDs column and introduce new IDs column. This could be the case with other APIs also, because I will send you a link of the deprecation process for APIs. You can go through it.
Okay.
Oh, but yes, please have a read through it, and any other feedback we can do async.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you, Hitesh, for taking us through that.
All right. Yeah, I see, Nate, you added another one at the end there.
Yeah, just I sent out a survey to all of the team. It's not a phishing scam thing, so please fill it out when you get a chance.
All right. Last chance for any ad hoc FYIs. All right, I'll take that as a no. Then we'll stop the recording here. Time to wave to the camera.